We'll continue our discussion on data communication. Let's recap what we have already discussed as a part of data communications topics. Let me highlight few points which we have discussed in two video lectures on data communication. The point which met is that all data transmitted over any communications medium is either digital or analog. Communication medium could be anything: twisted pair, coaxial cable, fiber optics, satellite, any kind of medium one can think of it. Unlike an analog signal, a digital signal can have only a limited number of defined values as 0 and 1s, this positive voltage or negative voltage. Analog, you can have a many values, but in digital we have only 0 and 1 in terms of voltage, high voltage or low voltage. The main issues in data communication is, do we need to send one bit at a time or do we need to send multiple bits at a time? We have already discussed that the actual data transmission takes place not in form of as you visualize, as you conceive your data or as the way you have presented your data, but finally converted into form of signal. Before that, it's converted into bits. There are two methods of data transmission: serial data transmission and parallel data transmissions. So whether you send one bit at a time or whether you send multiple bits at a time. Parallel data transmission is used where there is a large data is time sensitive and it needs to be sent quickly. Now, so basically we have defined lots of concepts related to data communications, and today we'll move into different domain. We'll describe about certain devices. So main topics discussed today is that what is the use of a modem in data communication. This is a device we are going to talk about. Earlier we have discussed only theoretical concepts, some theory, signals, data presentations, types of signals and so on. Now we are going to discuss what is the use of a modem in data communications, what are different types of a modem, criteria for selecting a modem, the broadband technology which basically relates to the speed of a modem, and modes of data transmission, whether you can have a simplex or a half duplex or full duplex. These are the broad topics we are going to discuss. Modem is a very important piece of a communications device that allows a computer to send and receive data through a telephone line and or cable connections. Just recall that we have defined many elements of data communications, and one element is basically what we call them communications device that allows a computer. So now we have a transmitter, we have a receiver, we have protocols, we have actual messages which need to be transmitted. So modem, you can say, is one of the important component, is a hardware component in data communications. We can have many other kinds of components which we have listed now, but modem is one such component. Computer information is stored inside the machine digitally or in digital form, whereas information transmitted over telephone lines is transmitted in the form of analog waves. So you recall what is analog signal or analog wave, or what is a digital signal, what is a digital wave. The modem converts between these two forms. Internally you work with the digital signal, but when you send data on telephone line from your machine to another machine, it has to be converted into different kinds of signal, already discussed in the previous slide, and modem basically does this kind of conversion. What does modem stands for? Modem is an acronym for modulator and demodulators. So there are basically two kinds of functionality built into a modem. One is called modulator and second is called demodulator. So modulator modulates or converts a binary signal into an analog signal for transmission over telephone lines of the centers at the center side, whereas demodulator demodulates or reconverts analog signal back into a binary form at the receiver side or back into a digital form at the receiver side, because system works only in form of digital, but transmission takes place in different form. Or modem basically does modulations and demodulations. And this is the graph you can see now. This is the picture you can see now, that there are two computers are there, and in between there is a modem. Inside the computer we have a digital signal, but in modem the signals is modulated and further demodulated, and again the signal is back into the digital form at another side now. So it sits between two kinds of system, two kinds of computer. Now modem let you link your computer to the outside world. We are just listing some of the functionality of a modem. Modem lets you link your computer to the outside world, that is the internet. For example, we'll describe at a later stage what is the internet, what is the computer network, what is the World Wide Web. All these terminology you will come across at a later stage. But since you are aware of what is the internet, we are not elaborating much more on right now. But basically it's a kind of network, but later on we'll say that is a different kinds of network. As you visualize, as you have seen this in the system, a bit different. Modem lets you communicate over standard telephone lines with other computers user. You have seen in the previous diagram that two computers are there, and you want to send data from one computer to another computer. They are connected with the telephone lines. Modem is sitting in between. So you can transfer data, exchange electronic files, even carry on a type transactions in real time through a modem. Digital signal represent, so what is the use of modem? Just be more specific now. Digital signals representing binary digits cannot travel over a long distance. This is the limitation of a digital signals. Modem is used to convert digital signal understood by computers to analog signal understood by telephone network through a process called modulation and modulation. So primarily what we are talking about, that whenever you have to send a data from one system to another system, you have to use a modem which converts and reconverts it through a process of modulations and demodulations. The main of data communication is to send and receive information for a long distance. This is just I want to remind you that we have discussed in two previous lectures lots of issues related to data communications, feature of data communication, elements of data communications, what is the data communication, what is the data, what is how data can be represented, some standards we also define. But one of the main objective of data communication is that we have to send a data for a long distance between one machine to another machine. But there is a attenuation. The new term has come. You just get used to this kind of terminology called attenuations of a signal if it travels for a long distance. Modulations techniques helps in increasing the reach of the signals. Now that is why you use your modulations. Now attenuations we have discussed in the previous slide. Just refer to this slide. So modulation technique helps in increasing the reach of the signal. So if I want to send a data for a long distance, you require some kinds of a modulation, otherwise signal gets attended to attenuations now. In the modulations process, the carrier wave that is called sine wave is literally modulated to carry data. So data which is carried over is modulated so that it can move little bit higher, move at a long distance. For example, just little bit technical word. For example, one amplitude, I'm just trying to understand what is the modulations, little bit technical, is a lower side, at the bottom side of the computer network or data communication we discuss. And that, for example, one amplitude can be used to send 0. So you remember we have been discussing all the time, I've been emphasizing all the time that finally signals is in a form of, your data is in form of some kinds of signal. The signal have a different characteristics, amplitude, frequency, phase. So one amplitude can be used to send a 0, another for a 1, or one of 4 different amplitudes can be used to send 2 bits at a time. Then 20 could be 1, 01 could be another bit, 10 could be another bit, 11 could be another bit. So there are different kinds of amplitude with 2 bits. If I want to send at a time. Let me just read once again. So one of the 4 different amplitudes can be used to send 2 bits at a time. By combining both amplitude and phase values, then many bits can be sent. So basically we have to send, purpose of modulation is to, one, to send data for long, two, that it can be used to send multiple bits at a time, and then they have to manipulate the amplitude, phase, frequency of the signal accordingly. 2 types of modem usually we discuss. One is called internal modem, second is called external modem. And now we'll give you definitions, what is the difference between the two in the subsequent slides. Internal modem is a modem that is directly plugged into the CPU. It is in form of a card that is plugged into one of the expansion slots on the main board of a PC. The internal modems are convenient because they do not take up disk space, or they use the computer's power supply. So here is internal modem, you don't see because it's fitted into the system itself. So if you have seen the motherboard of any computer, they have many slots. Slots for memory, slots for other devices, and there is slot for fitting the internal modems there. So advantage of such mechanism is that they don't occupy your space. So wherever you place a computer, that is sufficient enough, inside modem is fitted into it. You don't need to have a separate power supply for this one because they use the power supply of a computer itself. Much more convenient. External modem is not directly plugged into a CPU expansion slot, but installed outside of a CPU and connected to the CPU via the COM port or USB. There are connection points, so we call the COM port and USB. The term COM port used to be quite popular earlier stage. Typically uses separate voltage source in the form of an adapter. So there is a separate power source for the external modem, which is not the case with the internal modem because it's fitted into the inside the system, and they take the power of the computer itself. Good portability can be easily removed for use on another computer. So simply you can remove it and place it somewhere else. No expansion slots needed. This is one advantage. So if there is no expansion slot in your system, you can put it outside, but basically primarily designed for placing it outside the system. So the term we have used port, because the external modem is connected to the port of a systems now, of a computer. So what is a port? Let me just define. These are the new terms we are using them. In computer networking, a port is a communication endpoint. It's a point where you connect to something. Like printer is connected to one port, your mouse is connected to port, your keyboard is connected to the port. On a computer, it is generally a specific place for being physically connected to some other devices. So there is a place, a specific earlier, that was a specific place for connecting to particular devices now. What is the situations now, how we design at a later stage. So primarily at this stage you have to understand that there is a connection point within a system where you connect, and that connection point is called a port now, usually with a socket and plug of some kind. Now COM stands for communications port, are also called serial ports in old IBM compatible systems now. For example, a mouse might be connected to COM1 and a modem might be connected to COM2 port. COM ports were used in PC earlier and used for decades now. They were used earlier when we started working on computer. They had the 2 COM ports, one for the mouse, another one for the keyboard, another for modem. USB, there is now new trend, and this kind of port is called USB ports. USB you have to understand because this is terminology you will be using all the time. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus. Is the latest industry standard for short distance digital data communication and more popular now. The term universal in USB means it is not a specific device interface as we had COM1 for one, COM2 for another, but USB is not device specific interface like dedicated mouse or keyboard ports found in older hardware. USB ports allow USB devices to be connected to each other and other with and transfer digital data over USB cables. Now computer come with one or more USB connectors. So when you see the configuration of a computer, will find that you have a one or two or three USB ports or connector, which enables the connection of many peripheral devices to the computer quickly and easily. The installation of device drive is also very fast and easy. The term is device driver. For example, whenever you have you have changed your mouse, or change your keyboard, or change your printer, then for each such devices there is a software called device driver. So device driver basically manages these devices. System has to understand what kind of where from what type of input or where the output is going to outside this system. So these are the device drivers basically recognize that what particular device is being used for input or output. So moment you hit your keyboard, moment you hit any key on your keyboard system, it makes some interrupt to the system, and system is able to understand if there is a input from the keyboard, because there is a driver for this one, they immediately recognizes it. Today majority of the operating system supports USB. You know that there are different kinds of operating system is there, like Windows had series of operating system, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 9, Windows 10, and earlier version of this one. Unix is another kind of operating system. So there are different kinds of operating system. Even in your mobile you have different kinds of operating systems. So operating system basically manages the resources of your computer. So when you work with your system, basically you are working with the operating system. So all this menu which you see is a part of operating systems. Operating system manages the memory, operating system manages all the different kinds of hardware systems. So if memory is correct, if operating system is corrected, nothing will come. So if everything is okay, before moment you switch on, it's operating system responsibility to check whether all the element of a system is working perfectly or not. When you insert the plug of a USB device into USB port, operating system immediately starts searching for a profile of the device as a driver. Once identification of a device is done, data is transmitted from computer to device or vice versa. This is what I was trying to understand. So all these device driver has to be compatible with the operating system. Operating system must understand device driver, and device driver is a compatible to or designed for a specific kinds of device. So you have, let's say you have written a device driver software for a particular operating system, and the system has changed, new operating system has changed. It has to be rewritten, or it has to be compatible to that kind of operating system. So we have talked about two kinds of port. Compare between the two, USB port and serial port. USB port transmits data very fast, so it is now commonly used by the people. Serial ports transmit data at a very slow rate, so serial ports are now rarely used. USB ports are very user friendly, serial ports are not so user friendly as compared to USB. We are making some brief comparison. Now finally you require to have some modems. Now definitely some point of time you need to purchase some kind of modem. So what are the criteria you have to understand? Some of the points which you have consider while buying or using the modem is what is speed, what is the cost, compression standards. We'll explain some of the things. Modem's speed is called the baud rate, which is measured into bits per second. How many bits per second it able to transmit. The faster the modem, the higher the cost. So more, if a very high speed modem you are taking, then the cost will be definitely also increase accordingly. External modem generally cost higher than the internal modem. Compression standard, this term you use now, must try to understand the compression standard, because if I have to send a very huge file, huge data does not go like this, so they try to compress them. So let's say you have a gigabit files or megabit files, can compress into much more smaller files, then it can move faster, and finally at another end you can recompress it. So the 3 points you have to understand: what is the compression standard being used, or what is the compressions, how much compression is measured in terms of ratio. 1000 to 1, for example. It means 1000 bits will be represented by 1 bit, something like this. So there is algorithm for it. Cost, what is its cost and what is its speed. Now, how do you connect a modem? Connecting a modem involves attaching the modem device to your PC and to the telephone line. Equipments are there for connecting. The modem should come with the necessary equipment, including the standard RJ11 telephone cord. So these are the telephone cord is there, RJ11. Some other standards are also there. So you must have this cord for connecting modem with your computer. An internal modem is installed by removing the cover of the system unit and plugging the modem card into the expansion slot. It's very easy because expansion slot is there, modem comes with a cover, and simply remove that cover and insert this one inside this slot. Now, external modem to your PC, some of these steps are there which I just explained to you. Locate the serial cable that comes with a modem. It should have a 25 pin male connector at one end and a 25 hole female connector at the another end, and that is something which we have here. You just see that the computer is there, there is a cord is there, here RJ45 or the different kinds of cords are there, and the modem is placed between the telephone line, and this is simply some example of a cord RJ11, RJ45. So these cords comes when you purchase the modem now. Now, data transmission speed. How fast data can be transmitted from one system to another system is sometimes called the bandwidth. The bandwidth is a data transmission rate that tells the maximum amount of information, that is bits per second, that can be transmitted along a channel. It is measured in megabits per second and gigabit per second. The unit of data transmission equal to 1000 kilobits per second. This means megabits. The internet download speed, sometimes people ask whether 100 Mbps is okay or is a good speed. So I am explaining this question. So internet download speed of 100 Mbps or higher one often considered a fast internet speed. It's a very good internet speed. So if when you today connect to internet service provider, you can ask this, what is the download speed? If they say 100 Mbps, so this is very good, but of course the cost will come with it. The gigabits is much more higher than this one. So gigabits per second, sometimes called GBps, is a unit of data transfer rate equal to 1000 megabits per second. So that you understood the difference between two. Megabits is 1000 kbps, here is gigabits 1000 mbps. Broadband is often called high speed internet because usually has a high rate of data transmission. In generally, any connections to the customer is a relative term. Any connection to the customer of 256 kbits per second or greater is more concisely considered as a broadband. Before broadband, it was a narrow band, which was the technology behind dial-up connections, dial-up modem. In the days of dial-up, you had to hang up the phone to use the internet. Now, DSL is a digital subscriber line, and cable modems are the standard broadband technology. Telephone companies have developed DSL technology after the traditional modem reached their full speed. So DSL has a different kinds of versions, different kinds of technology, and the difference between ADSL, VDSL, HDSL, SDSL, each differs in the first letter, and with each one comes different kinds of speed. Now, DSL provides a broadband digital communication through a DSL modem, and that operates over a standard copper telephone line. So line is copper telephone line, but modem is a DSL. DSL modem splits transmission into a lower band for ordinary telephone lines and upper band for digital data transmission. This way DSL modem works. The three modes of data communications, the simplex, the half duplex and the full duplex. The basically difference is that whether you can send channel, you can receive also. So this way they have been defined into the simplex, half duplex or full duplex. We have a simplex communication channel send information over in only one directions, whereas the half duplex they can send at a time in one directions and another time they can receive the signal. In full duplex it can happen both the directions simultaneously, and this is the example of a simplex. You just see in one directions, it is sender, transmitter, receiver. Here you can see differentiate between half a duplex. You are sending it and then you are receiving it, but not simultaneously. And here you can see now the full duplex, you can send and receive both simultaneously. Let me conclude now. Modem is used to convert digital signals recognized by computers to analog signals recognized by telephone networks, and enables computers to communicate with each other through telephone network. DSL uses telephone lines to deliver an internet connections, and cable connects to the internet using the same lines that deliver cable TV to your home and with higher speed. So this way we have concluded one major topic of data communication, and that is how does modem work. Thank you.